All right, here we are back again. Tonight we're going to talk about life in the fast lane. And that is a topic that really interests me because if you take a look at this, 3 weeks and 3 days that will change your life completely. Life in the fast lane. Of course, I'm not talking about being really quick. I'm talking about fasting. Life in the fast lane, okay? Rather important. So let's take a look at this. There's 21 days that will change your life. Are you interested? 21 days. Is that a long time? Well, to someone who doesn't want to do it, it's an eternity, right? But if you're really interested in changing your life, this will be very interesting to you. And the results of what we're giving to you, these are things that we have experimented with over the past, I'd say about 12 years, and seen the effects on people's lives of what those who take this challenge up are changed forever. They say they'll never be the same again. So here's what you got to do. For 21 days, increase water intake to 6 cups per day. Your brain should be about 85% water, and you need to hydrate your brain and body with adequate water for those 21 days. Even slight dehydration can raise stress hormones, which over time damage both the brain and the body. So for those 21 days, you've got to be religiously perfect with doing these things, and you're going to see a difference. And if after the 21 days you want to go back to the way you used to live, go for it. Go for it. It's all yours. You can always go back. But you can never go forward unless you do the 21 days. In order to get the results you've never had, you have to do the things you've never done, right? For 21 days, restrict processed food intake to 20% maximum. Eat less. About 2 to 3 cups of chewed food. That means you look at your food and figure, if I'm going to really chew this up, will it make up 2 cups after it's chewed? And that's the type of food, the amount of food you'll want to try and get in. And you may be surprised at actually how full you feel and how long it lasts when you've chewed it properly and eaten the right amount to give your stomach all the room it needs to digest foods. So make sure that the foods you consume have optimal nutrition. We're talking super potent foods. So do your shopping over at the local health food store. Get all your organic stuff if you can. Get whatever food you can. And if you can't afford organic, get what you can and say, Lord, please bless what I'm about to do. And guess what? Did you know that He can make it organic? Just like that. He can give you better than organic. If your heart is in serving the Lord, His heart is with you. And you'll get a blessing. For 21 days, consume good fats. Only good fats. DHA, that's the docosahexaenoic acid, is an omega-3 fatty acid, and fatty acids make up half the weight of your brain. If you're not putting enough of them in, you're not getting full brain function. So, a good source of this nutrient is the udo's oil with DHA. The DHA is obtained from seaweeds and not from fish. You don't want it from the liver of some old fish. Other sources of good fats are avocados, Brazil nuts. Notice the food? Food is great. Cashews, flaxseed oil, green leafy vegetables, olive oil, walnuts, sacha inchi oil. How many have heard of that? Sacha inchi oil, 54% omega-3. That's huge. Put it in your skin, you can eat it, put it in your salad, put it on toast. It's great stuff. So, for 21 days, keep a proper balance of carbohydrates, amino acids, and good fats. So look at your meals, and for a while, for 21 days, concentrate on having a good balance of things at every single meal. And this is going to pay you off big time. Don't forget to chew your foods really good. Make your foods like applesauce before you swallow them. This will mix a lot of good saliva with them, and the saliva contains a lot of ingredients necessary to make your foods bioavailable to each cell in your body. So you chew the food small enough that the saliva can get at every molecule, and then it'll be broken down properly, because remember, there's no teeth in your stomach. Have you ever noticed that? Unless you swallowed a set of dentures, there's no teeth there in your stomach. So you want to make sure they're chewed here, because that's all the opportunity they're going to get to be chewed. Next, 21 days, choose 24 brain-healthy foods each day and incorporate them into a menu plan. Wow, and it's easy to get them, brain-healthy foods. And does this take a little bit of study? Well, we're not going to give you everything. Do some study. Get on the internet and start looking up some sources of brain-healthy foods. Get out some health books, brain-healthy foods, and see what feeds the brain the most. But I'll tell you what does. All of your omega oils, all of your antioxidants, your brain thrives on glucose. Needs a lot of it. So that's a good thing to think about. So for 21 days, avoid snacking between meals. This is a must if you're going to rebuild your stomach. Drink freshly made vegetable fruit juice combinations instead. Have 4 to 5 cups every day. So you could have a couple of cups mid-morning, a couple of cups mid-afternoon, between breakfast and lunch. Now that's not solid food. That's liquid. And that makes all the difference. If you have solid food, you're going to stress your stomach. It won't work. Okay. Remember I spoke to you about all of your antioxidants, how important they were at cleaning up free radicals? Well, this is what a molecule looks like here, an atom, and it's got a lot of electrons around it that are evenly paired. But if you take a look at something interesting, heat destroys some of these, and that's what makes it a free radical. So it goes around to bombard your tissues to manage to try and find some more electrons to balance out the unpaired electrons. Now, you don't want to have these in your system, so the key is you want to add antioxidants. And in antioxidants, they provide the missing electrons which were destroyed in the heating process, thus preventing any further tissue damage to the body. So they have a lot of extra electrons. And when they come across a free radical, they just willingly give up these extra electrons to pair the unpaired electrons in the free radical, and now it's no longer a free radical, so it's preventing all the damage from taking place in your body. Does that make sense to you? Hope it does. So make sure you get high sources of antioxidant foods. I'm going to show you what some of those are too. So back to the 21 days, increased consumption of dietary antioxidants. Numerous studies have shown that increasing antioxidants from fruit and vegetables significantly reduces the risk of developing cognitive impairment. All berries are excellent sources of antioxidants, as are spinach, broccoli, beets, cherries, oranges, avocados, red grapes, and red peppers. Those foods make me hungry as I look at them. Do you feel that way about them too? Oh, they're so pretty in color, and they're just loaded with richness. That's great stuff. Now, then, after 21 days of doing all this, getting your exercise in, doing all the right things, you're going to go 3 days with just water. Are you ready? Do you know what the common question is? Oh, I'll die. No, you won't. You won't die. Not at all. Water, just giving the whole digestive organs a rest, is incredibly important to your body's healing. And 3 days is the longest you should go unsupervised. Anything other than that, get professional supervision if you're going to fast with water longer than that. Dr. Herbert Shelton had some interesting results from cases he's experienced over a number of years. And this man was extremely wise in helping people by having them fast. Now, the case I'm going to give you was a man he called Mr. A.B. He was in his 70s, so I put around age 70 here. But I'm going to give you the results of his water fasting. Mr. A.B. had been an asthma patient for quite a number of years, and he was convinced that all the regular methods of treatment provided him no relief at all. In fact, his symptoms would get worse and worse, and more symptoms would happen to his body. So finally, he just gave up and he said, I'm going to an institution for water fasting. I've heard they're really good with asthma patients, and I'm going to go down there and do whatever they say to do because I'm tired of being suffering the way I am. So made sense to me. So now his case is documented, and I wanted to share some of the results with you for the reason of encouraging you to think about 3 days of just water. Maybe that's not such a bad idea. I've done 7 days of just water. And the brain feels so clear. The organs are so digested. But a nice thing is, you get control of your appetite. Yeah. Is that important? Absolutely. If you can deny appetite, if you can control appetite, you can control anything. That's the weakest part of man, the appetite. So, age 70 years, just water, no solid food in any form. He suffered from asthma 13 years. Notice what happened. Within 24 hours, all asthma symptoms gone. Body was being rehydrated. In most cases of asthma, it's dehydration that's taking place. And when the lungs are dehydrated, the body will produce mucus to cover the villi, to keep them from drying out. The alveoli, to keep them from drying out. Does that make sense to you? So that produces a lot of mucus in the lungs, and then the person has asthma. And so what happens? They take puffers. Take water. Mr. A.B. woke up early in the morning, or mid-morning, mid-evening, like around 3 o'clock in the morning, and he was at his first night of water fasting. They took away all his medication from him, and he woke up with an paroxysm of asthma. And he rang for the doctor to come, and he was hardly able to breathe. And the doctor checked him and says, "Oh, you'll be all right in the morning. Just take it easy." And he left the room. And Mr. A.B. said, "What kind of a place have I come to? They're trying to kill me." And he was hardly getting a breath. But you know what? In less than a few minutes, all of a sudden, he could breathe. And he went to sleep. And he never had another attack of asthma the whole time he was at the institution. No puffers. Immediately, otherwise he would have had a puffer with an attack of asthma. Instead, the body's trying to heal itself, but we get in the way. Now watch this. He had sinus problems over 13 years. Sinus and lungs cleared totally within 25 days. 25 days? With just water? Yeah. 25 days. He said he felt incredible. He could breathe like he was a young man again. His system was cleared. You see, digestion absorbs a massive amount of energy. And when his body wasn't digesting, he was healing. Now with the 21 days that we're telling you, you're putting in, if you follow the recommendations, you're putting in a massive amounts of nutrients. And when the 3 days comes that you water fast, your body's going to use all those nutrients you've been putting in to start doing some major healing. Cleaning the system and repairing things. So don't be afraid. Look forward. Look at Mr. A.B.'s case. He was completely deaf in his left ear for 6 years. Completely deaf for 6 years. Guess what happened? Hearing totally restored after 36 days. 36 days with just water? In fact, his hearing was so perfect, he could hear the ticking of a lady's small little watch at arm's length. He could hear it totally. And they say, well, deafness is just, that's it, once it's gone. No, his body cleared out the arteries feeding the ear. And once they cleared out and the blood flow was restored, his hearing was restored. So anybody who has a hearing problem, try it. You may like it. You'll get really good results, by the way, from the 3-day water fast. Very, very good results. And if you feel like doing the 21 days again, right after doing the 3 days of water, go for it. You got nothing to lose but disease. Feed your body and then let your body heal itself. You see, what we need to do with the body is get out of the way and do nothing intelligently, realizing this body is smarter than we know and smarter than we can know. Because none of us can make it. It's got its own innate healing system. And a lot of times, we prevent it from working. So, more results. He had an enlarged prostate more than 6 years. Prostate was normal after 6 days. After 6 days. Wow. He was impotent. No longer impotent after 42 days. 42 days on water. You know what's really interesting? They took him and put him back on solid foods again after the 42 days because the professionals knew now it's time, the body wants to eat again, it's ready to go. But there are times when the body doesn't want you to eat, and unless a professional is working with you, you won't know when that is. So that's very important, and I will reiterate the sentence once more. Do not fast at home by yourself more than 3 days with just water. If you want to go more than 3 days, get the help of a professional. And I'm not talking about a medical doctor. I'm talking about a person who's very trained in water fasting. There's a big difference, okay? Because a medical doctor says, oh, you can't, you'll die, just like everybody else says, oh, just water. Jesus fasted 40 days and 40 nights. He didn't die. He didn't die. Many people have fasted longer than that. Didn't die. Wow. Okay. So right from the Word of God, fasting in the Bible. Let's just take a look at just what I was saying. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered. So Jesus is our example in all things, isn't it? He's the author of life. He fasted 40 days and 40 nights to conquer appetite in behalf of man. And he wants to give us that opportunity, that victory. And by his grace, we can. But we have to choose to do that. If you are the type of person who feels like, ooh, I don't know, keep watching. I fast twice in the week. I give tithes of all that I possess. This was a man speaking with Jesus, and he says, what must I do then to be saved? So you see, this was a normal practice in the time of Jesus, that people would fast 1-2 days a week. This gave the system a nice rest from digesting. Sometimes I think maybe it'd be good to take Sabbaths and just have no food at all. Get your mind clear for hearing the Word of God. When you think of it, your first day of fasting is always the worst day for your fasting, so you might not pay as much attention as you'd like to. Maybe juicing would be a better thing for that. In here, the disciples, as they ministered to the Lord and fasted, the Holy Ghost said, separate me, Barnabas and Saul, for the work whereunto I have called them. And when they had fasted and prayed and laid their hands on them, they sent them away. So this is a common thing throughout the scriptures, and there's lots more places, but I wanted to give you the principle contained in Holy Writ. So it is right there from the get-go about what we need to do. Counsels on Diet and Foods, great book, worth studying. I've been through 2 copies now, and I make notes all the time, and maybe I'm ready for a 3rd copy because my copy's starting to fall all apart on me again. Lots of things in there. When it talks about people who are suffering with digestive problems and things, here's what inspiration has said. They should commence to relieve nature of the load they have forced upon her. We eat too much. We work too hard. We're not doing things balanced. They should remove the cause, right? Fast a short time. Maybe 3 days might be a good thing, right? Fast a short time and give the stomach chance for rest. Reduce the feverish state of the system by a careful and understanding application of, what is that word? Water. What did I just tell you? Water. Lots of it. If you have a stomach ulcer, water. Within 3 days, it's gone. Water. Water. These efforts will help nature in her struggles to free the system of impurities. Just like I was talking about symptoms. It's your friend. But generally, the persons who suffer pain become impatient. Oh, I'm not getting the results I'm looking for. They are not willing to use self-denial and suffer a little from hunger. Oh, my son, I feel hungry. I've got to have something to eat. No, you don't. That's been your problem all along. You've been eating. Stop it. To get the results you've never had, what did I say? You got to do the things you've never done. Stopping eating for a little while won't hurt you. In fact, it'll do you the world of good. Your stomach will appreciate it. Your digestive organs will appreciate it. Your brain will appreciate it. God will appreciate it. And your friends will appreciate it because you become clearer and better able to help them and see things as you should. Preparing psychologically. Is that an important one? Yes. That is the most important part. If you're not ready to go for this psychologically, don't go for it. Because if you're not prepared to go, if you haven't counted the journey and what it'll cost you, then don't go on the journey. Very important that you understand that. What a fear has come upon me. Job 3:25, right? Water fast? Fasting at all? How can I do this? We don't need to fear what's good for us. We need to fear what's not good for us. Be afraid, rather. So, your brain reacts to all situations. How many? All. Whether they are real or created only in your mind. My friends tell me you can't go without food. You'll get weak. Yeah, you might get weak, yeah. If you do, lie down. Rest, because your body's telling you, I want you to rest. If you find you're tired, sleep. Let your body do what it wants to do. Do you realize that your sight can use up to 70% of your total body energy? And if your body wants to do some healing and free up that energy for healing purposes, guess what it's going to do? It's going to close down sight. Brain, close the eyes. Make them feel tired because I got something I need to do here. It might be the liver talking to your brain. This is a personification. You understand that the brain doesn't have a mouth and the liver, but that's how they communicate. Do you know how important your communication is? It is extremely important. They're now discovering great things in science. They have a study now, and it's called the psycho-immuno-neurological endocrinology study. Is that a long word? It's really long. Guess what they've discovered? Your brain is wired to your thyroid, your thymus, your testes if you're male, your ovaries if you're female. In fact, it's hardwired directly to all your immune system. It's not as if that hormones have to activate immune cells. Immune cells are directly told by the brain what to do. And they thought all the years it was hormones that activated the immune system. Isn't that brilliant? It shows all 4 sections of the body work synergistically together to heal you. So this is a neurological thing. I have studied these things for years, taking it more and more in from the different studies that have been done and trying to reconcile all the information with the Bible and what had been given in the spirit of prophecy. And I'll tell you, the findings are incredible. Realizing how much you can use your actual nervous system to stimulate your immune system, to stimulate your hormonal system, to stimulate your muscular system, to stimulate every system in your body. I'm going to share with you some of those things. So, if you are in constant fear that your food will hurt you, it most assuredly will. So you've got to be psychologically ready to go and say, I'm going to do 21 days of incredible body-helping, healing things, and then I'm going to take 3 days to water fast. Now, plan this out. Don't just say, I'm going to do 21 days, and then you end up 21 days and you got to be somewhere or do something. Take a look at your calendar and say, okay, whoa, these 3 days here will work. I've got to plan 21 days up until there, and then I'm going to take those 3 days off. Unplug the TV. Unplug the radio. Don't read a newspaper. Get away from anybody that will bother you. Maybe you'd like to go away for a weekend somewhere. Maybe a husband and wife, take off for the weekend and just have restful things. Very important that your psychological aspect is at rest too. So any annoyances, any hindrances, get rid of them. The telephone, you don't want it. You want to take time to rest and repair your body. Allow it to do the work that only it knows how to do through the guidance of God. Okay? Every single cell in your body will only believe what your brain tells it to believe. That's the truth. That is the real truth. So, exercise during the 3-day water fast. You should not do anything that involves using a massive amount of energy. What you should do is light walking. No ankle weights or wrist weights or anything. Light walking, breathing deep in the fresh air. If you feel like going outside, make sure you got lots of air flowing through the building you're in, and then breathe deeply all the time. Think good thoughts. Think pleasant things, because this is part of your body's healing. Remember what I shared with you about the telomerase, which rebuilds the telomeres on the chromosomes? Remember how it increases your longevity? and increases your resistance to disease. Joyful, happy thoughts are very important to your healing. Very important, and your longevity. Little couple there walking on the beach. We are to give ourselves to the service of God. And we should seek to make the offering, that's us, as nearly perfect as possible. God is not looking for perfectly healthy people. He's looking for a perfectly surrendered people. Okay? That makes all the difference in the world. If you go at this with your whole heart, you're ready. You are perfect. Does that make any sense to you? Good. God will not be pleased with anything less than the best we can offer. Those who love Him with all the heart will desire to give Him the best service of the life, and they will be constantly seeking to bring every power of their being into harmony with the laws that will promote their ability to do His will. And that comes from having your brain taken care of, all of your respiratory organs taken care of, your digestive system taken care of, your muscles, all of your body prepared for a fit habitation. What does Romans 12, 1 and 2 say? Beloved, what are we to do? I beg you that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So you see, a surrendered body gives you that mind that hears the promptings of the Holy Spirit readily. Your conscience is the ability to have that to realize there's a moral and ethical aspect to your actions, combined with the urge to prefer right over wrong. That's your conscience. That's the voice of God speaking to you. And so you have to follow that, and there's no better way to prepare a sharp mind than to do that fasting 3 days and 21 days prior, eating all the right foods. And then if you so desired after that, go for it again if you want to. Will it hurt you? No. Will it benefit you? Yes. Will it benefit others? Yes. Will it benefit the kingdom of God? Absolutely. Absolutely. We have been given so much as Christians. And ought we not to give what we've been given to the world, that God could also increase what He's given to us, give us greater understanding, greater sense of commitment, greater abilities to serve those that don't have what we've been given? Is it not a good idea? And then we won't see somebody who's upset as being, getting in our way. Instead, we say, oh, poor person, they're having a hard day. I'll really be nice to them now, really help them out of that ditch they found themselves in. Okay. Different kinds of fasting. Did you know there's different kinds? Well, I want to discuss some of those with you. First of all, there's juice fasting. You could just take the time and say, I'm going to spend a whole day and do nothing but juicing. Maybe you want to spend a whole week doing juicing. Maybe 3 days, whatever time you can afford. Because you see, your body's a juicing machine. It's not as if you wouldn't be getting nutrition. It's just that your digestive organs get a real rest. And so if you're doing the juicing, you're letting the stomach have a real rest, yet your body's receiving nutrients. And I get into that, I think, in one of our lectures. I have forgotten now which one it is because it's been so long since we did them. But I know they're on DVD, and why should I try to remember anything I've recorded, right? It's already there. Why take up space, right? Einstein once was walking to the door of his house, and one of his students confronted him and said, Professor Einstein, he said, yes. He says, I'd like to talk to you about your theory of relativity. And Einstein said, my theory of what? He said, your theory of relativity. He said, what's that? He says, what is it? You've written a whole book on it. And Einstein said, I've written a book on it? He says, yeah. He says, well, why should I try to remember anything I've written down? That's the truth. It's so true. Now, also, grape fasting. This is mono-food fasting. Grapes aren't the only food you can fast with, but grapes are a perfect food. A very perfect food and great for fasting. If you want to fast and you can get them, I'd highly recommend you get organic black grapes with the seeds in them and chew the seeds up really good. There's all kinds of good micronutrients in there to help your system tremendously. So be moderate. Choose the time you're going to be fasting, and don't pick a day when you have to work and have stress. Let your body readily absorb the nutrients by having, say, a long weekend or something, Does this make sense to you? So whenever you're doing the fasting, give your body time to use it. Remove the stresses so you can enjoy what it is you're doing. Do you realize that we were meant to enjoy living? That's what we were created for. And you have to ask yourself a question. Am I enjoying life? And if you're not, something wrong. Because Jesus said, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest to your souls. So if you're doing something that causes you to feel unrested, out of control, obviously it's not the will of God in your life. Something needs to change. And these things will help you see where you need to change and how to change things. Does this make sense to you? I hope it does. Good. Also, pears. Pears are fantastic for your digestive system. The skin is incredible because you see, with the skin, there's quercetin in the skin, which is a great fighter against cancer. It's a great fighter against Alzheimer's. And inside, pears have 7 grams, on average size pear, 7 grams of great fiber for your digestive system. You need about 25 to 30 grams of good fiber minimum in your diet every day. And if one pear has 7 grams, 2 pears will give you almost over half of what you need for the day. That's pretty good, isn't it? So it's so simple to get what you need, and they also cause good bowel movements, pears do. So that's just some of the effective things of pears. So taking a fruit or a vegetable, check out the nutrients in it and what it'll do in the body by getting a book like The Whole Foods Companion, which is a really good explanation of the nutrients in foods, and look at the foods you want to do for a day or for a day or 2 or 3. And just consume them at regular meal times and enjoy yourself and watch your body work. Also, things like melons. If you're taking melons in, melons are fantastic for your kidneys, to clean your kidneys. When you're having melons, they're really different than any other food. Melons are eat them alone or leave them alone. You see, they're very interesting food to eat because as you eat them, they go directly to work on the kidneys. I've seen blood pressure go from 185 over 135 to 110 over 70 in 3 days with just melons. No medication, just melons. Cleaning out the kidneys, rehydrating the system. It is incredible what melons will do. Can you see? This is the medicine that God gave us. And God's way is the best way. We don't want to go to Egypt. We want to go back to God. Egypt is confusion. Let us go back to God's way. What he gave in the Garden of Eden, if you ask me, is brilliant. That's exactly what he gave the human race. And him seeing the end from the beginning, he knew what we would need in this day and age. And as we look back and look at the nutrients we're able to discover now in the foods, there is power and wisdom and love in what he's given us. Because God's medicine tastes good, it is good, and has no side effects except health. Hard to believe, but it's so true. Also, 1 day a week fasting. Maybe you pick Sunday. Pick whatever day works for you and do fasting. And maybe water fasting, could be mono food fasting, could be juice fasting. Whatever fasting you want to do, enjoy it. That's the key thing. Now, from the Pen of Inspiration, a book called Counsels in Diet and Foods. Have you noticed how many times I refer to that book? That's a great book for anybody to pick up. I've had people come to the Cleanse Center. Well, Jeannie and I have had them come to the Cleanse Center. And you know what? They pick up this book and they start reading it. One woman, she was up all night. She came in the morning and she said, I can't believe everything that's in this book. This book is incredible. Where can I get a copy? I said, here's a copy for you. And she just stayed up reading it, highlighting it, and started applying it to her life. And guess what? She's receiving healing. It's kind of good news, isn't it? There are some who would be benefited more by abstinence from food for a day or 2 every week than by any amount of treatment or medical advice. To fast 1 day a week would be of incalculable benefit to them. That's guidance. That's incredible. And it works. What can I tell you? Now, foods and juices that detoxify the body best. Got your pens ready? Okay, these are things you'll want to make sure you get. Because when you're doing your fasting, these are great foods. When you're doing your 21 days, these are also fantastic foods for you. superfoods that you can add to your diet during the 21 days to store up healing, cleansing power. Now, I want to tell you before I put these foods on the screen, you don't need to go to the Himalayas to get food to heal your body. Your body will heal with whatever foods grow in your area. God does not make it so that we have to depend on all these foreign imports to get well. But some of those foreign imported foods are so incredible that if you can't afford them, they will be a help and a blessing to you. So I'm not saying poo-hoo, don't do it, but if you can afford them, go for it. And if you can't, don't worry. You'll heal, maybe just a little slower, but you will heal with foods gathered from your very own area. Does that make sense to you? God provides healing for rich and poor. He's not restricted to funds. Not restricted at all. So, one of the first foods, fresh or powdered beet juice. What Jeannie does sometimes, she'll take fresh beets and she'll grind them up in the food processor, I guess, chop them all up, and then she puts them on a dehydrator in thin slices and dehydrates them, and then takes them out and puts them in the food processor and grinds them all up into a powder. And sometimes we sprinkle them on salads. And so you got fresh beets to last you all year. All the nutrients are kept intact and everything. Isn't that kind of nice? You lose between maybe 2 to 3%, 5% of the nutrients, but that's about all. But if you get the juice, you can get beet juice that's been dehydrated. This is great to add to your diet. Put it in smoothies, whatever you'd like. Also, powdered chlorella. It doesn't smell great. It doesn't taste great. But come on. You know, if it's going to do your body good, add it. Add it to a smoothie. Add it to something to make it taste good for you and get it in there, because chlorella is super potent food for your whole body. Also, powdered acai berries. Acai berries are an incredible food for building stem cells. Do you remember what I showed you about the skin and stem cells? Remember that? Well, take a look at that DVD, your external thermometer. And you'll understand how stem cells are very important to keeping your body healthy and rebuilding and regrowing and replenishing tissues throughout your whole system. Your body needs stem cells. If you're going to do some repairing over those 3 days of fasting, get yourself lots of acai berries, because your body will use the nutrients to rebuild stem cells to repair your whole system. Very, very nice food. Powdered or fresh wheatgrass juice. There's another good one. If you're adding all of these things, you're adding so much power to your whole system to heal itself that your body's going to go, whoopee, what are you doing? Now you're giving me some real power. And since your brain already says, yep, and at the end of 21 days, we're going to take 3 days and you can just clean house. The brain is going to go, oh, I've been waiting for this for a long time. I'm going to store it up and we're going to do some whoop-de-doo cleaning like you wouldn't believe. And it works. Next thing, powdered spirulina. I like this, but it smells like dead fish. But I still take it. It's got like 4,000 nutrients. A superfood. And so I take it, I'll take a heaping spoonful, and pour it in my smoothie and say, here we go. Doesn't taste any different to me. It just tastes really good. And it just sends so much green into your system that your body starts to make so many new healthy blood cells. This stuff's powerful. Is this exciting? Isn't it neat to know that you can do things to rebuild your body? You know, chlorophyll is so potent. If you took all the fresh greens you could and you made a complete rich, you juiced them, and you made enough chlorophyll to fill a quart jar, and then you added some apple to it to make it taste pretty good, because chlorophyll on its own is not too great tasting. But if you added fresh squeezed apple juice to it, and you had that for supper, drank it down, swished it in your mouth, drank the whole thing overnight, by the time the morning came around, you would have given your body a whole blood transfusion. Do you think your body would like that? Yep. Yep. So all this chlorella, the powdered fresh wheatgrass juice, all of these things are fantastic for you. Chlorella, spirulina, also blueberries. Very high in antioxidants. And you need those, don't you? Blueberries, great for your bowels, great for your body. Dried apricots, they help your body to retain moisture and redistribute moisture in all the different areas of your cellular networks. And unless the moisture is retained in the cells, your body cannot have cells that are operating 100% efficient. So get nice organic dried apricots. That's your best bet right there. Powdered maca root. Maca is incredible for rebalancing the endocrine system. That's all your hormones in your body. This is an onion-like food, a root food that comes from the Himalayas. Not the Himalayas, pardon me, down in South America. Okay, so it's grown in South America. And what you want to do is get a lot of it and take, say, whatever directions are on the bottle, take a tablespoon, whatever, and put it in your smoothie, a special drink you'll make every day for that. If you wanted to mix all these things together, boy, you're going to have to add some nice fruit to that to make it taste really good. But if you do, you'll have your nice drink and you say, boy. And you know what's going to happen mentally? You feel good about what you're doing because you know you're feeding your body right. And when you do that, when you feel good about what you're doing, you're actually causing your body to become healthy. You're feeling happy. Goji berries, have you heard of those? You realize things like goji berries are a perfect complete protein. Did you know that? Goji berries contain all 9 essential amino acids from which your body can build every protein it needs. So simple. Goji berries? Yes. And if you mix those with wonderful cacao is what they make cocoa from and things like that, and chocolate. But the raw cacao, the nice nibs, boy, they're so bitter. But when you chew them in your mouth with goji berries, it's a nice chocolatey type of taste. And the more you chew it, the better it tastes. It tastes really good, and it's very good for you. In fact, if we think that blueberries are high in antioxidants, cacao nibs are the highest antioxidant food on the planet, bar none. They are super antioxidants, and that feeds your brain and stops a lot of free radical damage throughout your whole system. So you need those things for those 21 days, don't you? I hope you can all... Have you ever heard of all these foods before? Or most of them? Well, good. Start to become familiar with food, because unless you understand food, you can never understand disease. Because the reason disease sets up is because the lack of nutrition is coming into the body from the lack of good food. So he who does not understand food can never understand disease. Now, Jeannie is going to share with you some really exciting things, answering a lot of questions, by the way, that we know will come up. So I'll turn the microphone over to her.
Okay, so I want to address a few of the questions that people usually raise to us, especially connected with the 21-day program that Rudy has been sharing with you. Are you excited to try the 21 days? You will definitely feel good. We've had so many people that have done this, and they have come back to us and said, wow, I feel incredible after doing the 3 days of water at the end of the 21 days. I just feel amazing. So, but there's always some questions that people ask us. One of the big questions is about weight loss. So people want to know if weight loss can be incorporated into this, or they want to do it for the purpose of stimulating weight loss. And yes, you can. There will be some little bit different things that you are going to do, and those I want to address. First of all, for general weight loss recommendations, you can visit our website. That's BaysideNaturalHealth.com, BaysideNaturalHealth.com. If you go on there, you'll just find general recommendations for weight loss. But what I want to share with you specifically is when you're doing the 21 days, you're going to be looking at resetting the metabolism, okay? So resetting your body's metabolism. And you can only do this if you do this meticulously, these following 8 points that I'm going to share with you. And you need to do this for at least 6 months, okay? So at least 6 months, you'll carry on. After your 21 days, you'll continue on with these 8 points. And you need to follow this very meticulously in order to reset your body's metabolism. Okay, so the first thing is no free fats. So that means no margarine, no mayonnaise, fried foods, salad oils. The only exception is going to be nutritional oils such as Udo's oil with the DHA, the Udo's oil. Okay, so that would be an exception. You can have 2 tablespoons per day, up to 2 tablespoons of a nutritional oil. The reason we recommend the Udo's oil is just because it's a good balanced oil. It's not just a straight high omega-3 oil. It's got a good balance of all your omegas in there. So that would be the one that we would recommend. Secondly, never eat after 3 p.m. Okay, you can have a juice. If you're feeling hungry later in the day, you can have a juice. And Rudy mentioned about the juicing, but no solid food after 3 p.m. Next one, only 2 meals a day at regular times, no snacking in between. Ideally, you should have those meals 5 hours apart. Okay, that's ideal to have those meals 5 hours apart. Very critical, no snacking in between. What you're trying to do here is reset your body's metabolism. Okay? Next, you want to minimize concentrated foods, including nuts and nut butters. Now, oftentimes when people are getting into more raw foods, they tend to start going heavy into nuts and nut butters. You don't want to do that at any time, but you especially don't want to do that while you're trying to reset the body's metabolism. Okay, so you want to go easy on the nuts and nut butters. Number 5, you need to walk for 20 minutes after each meal. This is in addition to a daily exercise program of at least 30 minutes. Rudy mentioned to you about walking, that you need to get at least 30 minutes to an hour every day, a regular exercise program. This will be in addition. So after you finish your meal, you need to go for a 20-minute walk. Doesn't need to be a brisk walk, and it actually shouldn't be a brisk walk, okay? But you should go for a walk. What that does is aid digestion. A lot of times why people are actually putting weight on is because their digestion is not good, and the body is not breaking down those fats and nutrients adequately, and so they start storing them. Okay, so 20 minutes after each meal. Number 6, total vegan only. No animal products at all. Animal products, anything from an animal will actually stimulate growth. They're made for the baby animal or for the animal, and it's to stimulate growth. And when we take those in, that causes growth to happen in us as well. So total vegan. Number 7, limit the quantity and the variety at meals. If you have forgotten, or maybe you didn't, you missed the lecture that we did on how to avoid tunnel eating, and I explained on there how to calculate the quantity of food that your stomach can actually hold and how much you should eat. So watch that DVD and you will be able to calculate the quantity of food that your stomach can hold. Be careful not to exceed that. And also be careful with variety. Your body actually does best on about 3, possibly 4 items, different items at one meal. Okay? So if you're going to potluck, and by the way, potlucks are a huge temptation because you see all these lovely foods that everybody brought, and everybody is wanting you to try their dish, but that is actually very, very hard on your body. Just pick 2 or 3 or 4 things that you want to try and make your meal on that. Okay, and that's very important, especially for this. Number 8, eat nothing but cherries for several days each week, as the high base mineral content counteracts the damage of a white sugar, white flour, and meat diet, and has a very beneficial effect on the metabolism. So for a couple of days every week, you can eat fresh cherries, okay? Or you can actually eat them dehydrated as well. It doesn't matter, but just eat some cherries, lots of cherries on those days, and you will find that that's going to aid your metabolism. If you follow this for 6 months, it will reset your body's metabolism. You will find then that your body will start to process nutrients as it should. Okay, let's look at some other questions that we have. Frequently asked questions about the 3-day water fast. Will I get really hungry? Usually the first day, people do feel hungry. That's just because we're used to eating. Okay, we're used to putting food in. And so that first day, yes, you probably will feel hungry. But by the second day, most people do not feel hungry. And by the 3rd day, people do not generally feel hungry, very few people, and they start feeling energy, lots of energy. They're starting to feel really good by day number 3. So yes, the first day, you probably will feel hungry, but that's okay. Continue to drink the water. And you will find as the day goes, you're not going to feel starved. By the way, that feeling of hunger dissipates quite rapidly. So it'll come and go through the day, but you'll start to feel really good. Day number 2, generally you're not going to be feeling hungry. Can I still work? Rudy kind of touched on this. No, you really should not work. So choose the 21 days that will end at a time where you can take those 3 days and you do not have to work. You need to have emotional rest, physical rest, psychological rest. Really important, because what you're doing during those 3 days is you're allowing your body to take all of the nutrients that you've been storing and now clean your tissues. So you really do not want to work during those 3 days. Can I drink other liquids besides water? People always want to know if they can have something else. It's really not a good idea. Water is the best. Rudy mentioned about different types of fasting. If you feel for some reason you can't do water, you can still do the 21 days, and maybe you want to do 3 days of juicing. You will not get the same effect as you do with just drinking the water, but you will still get some good benefit for your body. Ideally, keep it just to water. Okay, that's what you want to do. You've worked really hard to put all those nutrients in for 3 weeks. Let your body do the cleaning now that it wants to do. Even tea is usually not a good thing to have. If you're feeling chilly, just heat up some water and have some hot water. Okay, depending on the time of the year that you're doing it. You know, if you start feeling like you're chilled and you need something warm going in, you can have some hot water. Okay, but keep it to water, that's the best. Now, should I continue to take my medication? We never advise on the medications. You need to actually go to your practitioner that prescribed those medications. You need to tell them what you're doing, and you need to ask them to either monitor you or tell you which medications that you can stop taking or which ones you need to continue taking. So you need to go back to whoever it was that prescribed those medications in the first place. Make sure you tell them what you're doing, and they will advise you accordingly then with your medications. Okay, other questions. Frequently asked questions about juicing. What's the difference between a juice and a smoothie? People ask that all the time. Do you know what the difference is between a juice and a smoothie? I hope you guys do. Okay, first of all, a juice is something that you've put through the juicer and you have removed the fiber from that. All you have left is the juice. A smoothie, on the other hand, you have now put that into your blender. You've put some juice or other liquids. Some people use just water, that's fine. But you're putting whole food in there. You're putting whole greens in. All you're doing is blending it up. Okay, so what you're ending up with is a blended food. A smoothie is a blended food. It is not the same as a juice. Okay, so a lot of times then people are taking their smoothie in between meals. And if you're taking your smoothie in between meals, what you're actually doing is eating between meals. That's food going in. It's just blended food. You don't want to do that. The smoothie, whether it's a fruit smoothie, a green smoothie, any kind of a smoothie that you're doing, that's part of your meal. Okay, so make sure that you keep those two separate. Now, isn't my Vitamix a juicer? People ask us that all the time. They went out and they bought this Vitamix. They saw it demoed at Costco or some other place, and they told them it was a juicer. It's not a juicer. It's a blender. It's a wonderful blender, and it's going to blend things up in maybe a juicy consistency, but it's not a juicer. A juicer, when you put the carrot or the apple or whatever you're juicing in, separates the fiber, the pulp, from the juice. They come out in separate areas. Okay, a blender does not do that, and a Vitamix is a blender, not a juicer. What's a good juicer? I get that question so often. What's a good juicer? Good is very subjective, okay? First of all, good is going to probably depend on your budget. Good is going to depend on the time that you can invest in juicing. It's one thing to say, you know, I want top of the line. I have people that come and they say, you know, I bought a Green Star and I've got this, $600 or $800 machine sitting there. And I asked them, how often do you use it? Okay, maybe initially after they got it, they started using it on a regular basis, but maybe they didn't have the time, because it does require a little bit more time to use a Green Star than some other types of juicers. And so then it starts to get left to the side, and then it gets moved down in the cupboard, and pretty soon they forgot they even had it, okay? You need to, first of all, think about what you have for time to put into juicing. Maybe you can afford an expensive machine dollar-wise, but you don't have the time to use it. Don't go and get that expensive machine. Get yourself a Breville. Get yourself something that's going to be quick and easy, and it's going to make your juice for you, that you can at least be getting it in. And no, it's not going to extract all the juice. You're going to have juice still in that pulp, but at least you're putting juice into your body that you wouldn't have put in if you got an expensive machine that's going to require a lot more time. But maybe you have the time. Maybe you're retired, you're at home, you have some time to put into juicing. Great. Go ahead and get that machine then that maybe takes a little bit more time but does a better job. A great machine that I've gone to recommending to most of our patients who ask this question to us is the Breville. I don't know if you know what the Breville is, but it has a big feeder chute. Great big feeder chute on the top of it. You can put in whole apples, you can put in big carrots, you can juice up 2 quarts of juice if you have all your vegetables and fruit and everything washed up in advance. You can juice up 2 quarts of juice in probably 10 minutes. Rinse up your juicer. It rinses very quick, and you can be cleaned up in probably 15 minutes, start to finish, if your things are washed up in advance. So that's what I've gone to recommending, because we live in a society, as Rudy was mentioning and talking about here, life in the fast lane. Everybody is on the go, and there's never enough time. So get something that is going to work, first of all, for your time, and then secondly, for your budget. Now, isn't it expensive to eat this way? People tell us that all the time. Oh, it's expensive, I can't afford it. Initially, you may find that it is expensive to get some of the things that you need, but some of the things that we talk about or encourage you to use are things that are going to last for a period of time. You don't use them all at once. Another thing you're going to find too is that when you're feeding your body high quality nutrition, you actually are not consuming as much food as you do when you're not feeding your body high quality nutrition. You will find it's probably going to be very comparable to what you have been spending for your groceries. Now, of course, when you juice, you are going to be buying a little bit more for juicing, so you may find a little increase in expenditure that way, but you are investing in your health. And someone said to me one time who was doing this, and people kept saying to them, well, you're spending so much money on buying, oranges for juicing and buying carrots and things like that. And they said, well, you know what? I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't go to the movies, so I feel I can invest some money in myself, And that's true. And this person actually who was asking them was a person that was doing those things. And they kind of pondered that. They thought, that's a very good point. So, no, it's not that expensive. I don't like carrot juice. I get that one all the time. People call me and they say, I just don't like carrot juice, or I don't like these combinations. Well, that's okay. Not everybody's taste buds are the same. So have different juices or make different combinations. If you have never juiced before, if you're just starting juicing, then this is one I'll recommend to you. 50% fresh carrot, 50% fresh orange. Not store-bought orange. Juice the oranges yourself. Half and half. Most people like that combination, and they start getting used to the taste of carrot, okay? Now, in any of the juices that you're doing, you don't want to make them more than 50% fruit. They should ideally be mostly vegetable, around 75% vegetable, even more. Okay, but for making them more palatable, you can add some fruit in, some apple, orange, pineapple, pears. Those are all very nice to put into your juices. But make sure that you don't get more than 50% of it as fruit juice. Okay, but try different recipes. There's all kinds of books out there on juicing. Try different recipes. Some of them are wonderful. And other ones you may find your taste buds don't particularly care for those. That's okay. All right, frequently asked questions that we get about smoothies. Can I put vegetables in my smoothies? No, you don't want to put vegetables in your smoothies. Greens. Your smoothies are for getting more greens in. Okay, vegetables, if you're going to put vegetables, then you're making more like a soup is what you're doing. If you're putting carrots and things like that in, you're making more like a soup. That's going to be needing to be at a vegetable meal, so a lunch meal or a supper meal, something like that, and you're not going to add fruit to that smoothie. Okay, the smoothies that we recommend, the green smoothies, you can use a fruit juice base, or you can use a tomato base, tomato juice base. If you don't like the sweet, that's fine. Use tomato juice. Some people actually prefer to do it with water. That's fine too, whatever your taste buds enjoy. But we recommend doing fruit juice base and then green leafy vegetables only. Just leafy greens. So you can put your spinach, you can put your romaine, you can put your kale, strip the stem out of the kale leaf, just use the leaf. Any of your leafy greens. You can even put leafy green sprouts in, so broccoli sprouts, alfalfa sprouts, but not mung bean sprouts because you've got the bean in there. You're going to start to get digestive distress if you start putting vegetables into that mix. Okay, and people will come and tell us, all the time that my stomach isn't digesting this food, and I start asking, what are you putting in your smoothie? Well, I'm putting in a green pepper, and I'm putting in a cucumber, and well, it's green, and broccoli. No. Leafy greens, just leaves. Put those in and blend them up with your fruit juice. Okay. All right. Can I have my smoothie midday? Well, we just touched on that. No, your smoothie is a blended food. So your smoothie needs to be at your meal time. A lot of people will have it midday, and then they have all kinds of digestive problems. Can I use other juice in my smoothie? Again, we've answered that one. Yes, you can use any juice that you want to put in there. No problem. Okay. Should I drink my smoothie a half an hour before my meal? No, you want to have it. You can have it as the start of your meal, and ideally that's how you should have it, the start of your meal, but you finish your meal after you finish drinking your smoothie. So many people are doing this, and then they come and they will call me up or send me emails telling me that, my stomach doesn't feel good. I feel kind of nauseous, or I'm getting bloating, all these problems. And what they're doing is they're thinking they need to put that down because they still have an idea, because it's sort of liquidy, that it's a juice. It's not a juice. It's just a blended food. In fact, I'll tell people it's like a blended salad is really what it is. It needs to be a part of your meal. Okay, so it can be the first part of your meal, just like any raw food that you would put in first, but keep it at your meal. I feel too full after drinking my smoothie. Cut it back. Cut it back, okay? We put out general guidelines, I think, on one of the DVDs, and again, I don't remember which one we talked about it, but we gave a recipe for making a green smoothie, and I believe it had 2 cups of pineapple juice, and then you put your greens into that. That's going to make about a 16-ounce smoothie, maybe a little bit more depending how many greens you put in. All of us are different. Not all of us will hold the same amount, okay? So if you find that that's too much, don't make so much. Cut it back. Make a 10-ounce smoothie. Cut the juice back, okay? So make whatever is appropriate for you. All right, juicing made simple. This is for life in the fast lane. All the time people will come and they'll talk to me and they'll say, I hate juicing. It takes too long. I just can't find the time to do it. So I have found a few little tricks that actually help me when I juice, and so I thought I'll share them with you. And that way, if you're having trouble fitting it into your schedule, maybe these will help you too. First of all, when you go shopping, buy a wide variety of fruits and vegetables. So what I do is I just buy all kinds of things that maybe I'm not thinking of it for a specific recipe or something. I just look and I think, okay, I haven't had an eggplant for a while, so I'll take some eggplants, some zucchini, some peppers, some, strawberries, some pears, whatever. A wide variety of fruits and vegetables. You're not thinking of these for specific recipes. You're simply thinking of them. This is going to be to get a good variety. You're going to use them for juicing, okay? When you come home, wash them all up. You're not going to cut and trim and things like that. Just wash them all up. Put them in a bag or a big bowl. What I do is I wash up a great big bowl of fruits and vegetables. I'll wash the whole bag of carrots and the whole bag of apples, whatever. I wash everything up, stick it in the fridge. We're blessed because we have a walk-in fridge, so it makes it handy for that. But put your fruits and vegetables, get them all washed, stick them in your fridge. Next thing, as soon as you're ready to start juicing, put your juicer beside the sink. It doesn't matter where you have it in your kitchen initially, sitting on the counter. People say to me, well, I don't really have a good spot in my kitchen for my juicer. And I say, it doesn't matter. Put it wherever. It can sit any place because it doesn't have to be used there. When you use it though, put it by the sink because it's so quick and easy then to do your cleanup afterward. You're not hauling it from some other area in your kitchen and making a mess all the way to the sink or whatever. All the things that people tell me they don't like about juicing. So put it right beside the sink. And when you're ready to do your juice, you put your juicer there, you get your big bowl of vegetables out. If you have a Breville, run them through. You're going to find you can make up 2 quarts of juice in no time flat, 5-10 minutes, depending what you're shoving through there. And your juicer rinses. And people say, well, it's so hard to get the film off there. For me, I don't worry about that film. That's the little oil from the carrot, that'll start to turn it a little orangey. If that really bothers you, throw it in your dishwasher. Your dishwasher will clean it right off, okay? But for me, I'm not worried about I don't worry that my juicer doesn't look brand new. It gets used every single day. I don't expect it to look brand new. And it's going to start to discolor over time. That's okay. It rinses up, take a little scrub brush, and you can have it cleaned in no time flat. If you still find that that's too much time to rinse up your juicer after you juice, maybe you're rushing out the door for work or something, put the stopper in the sink, throw your parts in there, turn the water on, fill the sink with water, and when you come home, it's very simple then to rinse it up. Okay, it's not going to stick and glue on and be a big job to clean. So those are some easy things that you can do to make juicing doable for those of us living in the fast lane. Exercise made simple for the life in the fast lane. People tell us, I don't have time to exercise. I just can't get it done. There's no time. It doesn't fit in, or there's 100 excuses why they can't get their exercise. First of all, exercise in the morning. That's the best time to exercise. We talked about on our presentation when we talked about exercise, and I'm trying to remember the title of it. It's been a while since we did that one. But the DVD that we did on exercise, there's a study on there where I was sharing with you about a study done in Arizona. And they found that people who exercise in the morning, 75% of those people will continue or be consistent with their exercise program. People who put it off until later in the day, it drops down to 50%. And people that put it off until after work, it drops down to 25%. It's just because things come in. As our day goes along, we start to have all the reasons why we can't do the exercise, Maybe it's raining, it wasn't raining this morning, it was sunny, but now it's raining. Or, now I'm tired, or, I've got 100 phone calls, or there's a million things that come in that will prevent us from doing our exercise. So the longer you put off doing your exercise in the day, the more likelihood that you will not do it. Try to aim for first thing in the morning, as soon as you get up. And this is something that I find works very, very well for me. Exercise first thing in the morning. The night before, put your exercise clothes, set them out, everything. Your socks, shoes, everything, right there. And as soon as you get up in the morning, immediately, don't even let your brain think about it. Put your exercise clothes on, including your shoes. There is something that works on your psyche, okay? which says once you have your exercise clothes on, okay, I'm going to exercise. Okay? If you are a person that lives in exercise clothes, and there's a few people like that that I know, that won't work for you. That psychological aspect won't work for you because you live in exercise clothes. So there's not the same attachment. But if you're a person who doesn't really live in your exercise clothes, then there's this little attachment that comes with putting it on that says, okay, when I've got them on, I'm going to go exercise. So what I do when I get up in the morning, I put on my exercise clothes, then I have my prayer time, I have my Bible study, and then I go and do my exercise. But you will find if you have those exercise clothes on, chances are you're not going to say by the time you get done with whatever your routines are, your study time or whatever, you're not going to say, well, I think I'm going to take them off now and just go about my day. No, you've got them on, and now you've got them on, you're going to go exercise, whatever it is that you're going to do. So that works really well, and it has worked well for a lot of people. Also, look for ways to move more, not less. Usually, we look for ways to move less. Oh, where's the remote? Don't want to get up, right? Or, oh, honey, you're going to the kitchen. Can you get me whatever, right? You're running upstairs. Can you take this with you when you go? You know, we're always getting somebody else to do our exercise for us. We're looking for ways to get out of exercise, okay? Try to find ways that you can do it. Run up the stairs yourself. Use the stairs instead of the elevator or the escalator. When Rudy and I go to the airport and they have, you know, all the moving sidewalks, I skip them. I walk. You know, and everybody else is, you know, they walk down the moving sidewalk, but you're really not getting a lot of exercise. And look for ways to incorporate more exercise into your day. I want to share with you just a really neat thing that I've recently come across. These are called tread desks or treadmill desks or sit-to-walk stations. There's different names for the different ones. These are great. This particular one here, actually, it goes up and down. So you can have it as a sitting position with the treadmill off, obviously. Or you can have the desk raised, and the treadmill is on. And so you're walking instead of just sitting at your desk all the time. These are great. I put two different websites here just because of the two countries. Tread Desk at treaddesk.com. That one will work good for those of you south of the border in the States, okay? Treadmilldeskinc.com is good for those of us in Canada. It's not the same company. These are two separate companies. But these are two companies that I have found where you can actually purchase the tread part separately. So you don't have to buy the desk with it if you don't want. The tread part is no more expensive than a treadmill. Actually, it's cheaper than most of your treadmills that are out there on the market. So you can get the tread part with the control, and you can have a desk yourself if you want, if you've got a desk that you want to work at, or you want to build something. It will be far cheaper than purchasing the whole package, I'll put it that way. So you can get just the tread part, or you can buy it as a whole package. But these are great, and more people that are doing a lot of stationary work, sitting at their desk, they're moving to things like this to try to keep exercise. And I just think that that's a really great idea. Now, in closing, I want to share a quote here with you. Only one lease of life is granted us. One lease. And the inquiry with everyone should be, how can I invest my powers so that they may yield the greatest profit? How can I do most for the glory of God and the benefit of my fellow men? Hence that time is spent to good account, which is used in the establishment and preservation of physical and mental health. You are investing with the things that you're doing. You are investing in physical and mental health for the benefit of those around you and also for the glory of God. So we want to encourage you that as you consider doing the 21 days that will change your life forever, consider the benefits not just for yourself, but also for those around you and the glory that it will bring to God. Okay, thank you.